right, so this is Filled Inventory, and we're back for our second video. Our first video was about achievements ruining gaming, and now you can kind of meet us in person for the first time. I'm Tim Giberson, and
I'm Chris Walsh. How's it going, guys?
So the second video we're looking to make is actually based on what we were considering the underrated game of the month. This is for January of 2013, of course, and I primarily played the Xbox 360, although the game was on different consoles as well, and the game that we're looking at in concentration is Asura's Wrath. I just want to kind of get your quick thoughts on what you were thinking about Asura's Wrath, Walsh.
Well, you know, growing up on Dragon Ball Z like we were, I remember running home every day from the bus stop, eagerly wanting to see the action that would happen, and Asura's really reminds me of that just intense, all-out, you know, non-stop, just pure action, with a good story too behind it and good music. It's got a good match of everything.
Yeah, that's the thing I noticed with Asura's is, you know, while the gameplay, of course, was very repetitive. I can remember fighting like 10 turtles or something ridiculous like that. It was a different experience, although it was your typical button mashing game, although there was some combos you had to learn so that you could get higher point scores. It had a great music track, a great story, and a great cinematography that was different than most games have. Most games we have are kind of going for a different style than Asura's is the one that kind of stood out entirely that made me really like the game. It's definitely in one of my top favorite games made in the past 10 years easily, and ranks up there with Dante's Inferno. Of course, Dante's was a little different. Also had a kind of a repetition, but the storyline. That's kind of what got it for me. But I think the music was the biggest part. I mean, how did you feel about the music in the game?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the music was a big part of it. Games just in general are getting a lot better soundtracks, a lot more immersive, but I really liked Zura's use of classical music during the boss fights and stuff. I thought it really meshed really well.
Yeah, I mean, even you know, with the New World Symphony, I think in the August fight was totally incredible.
Yeah, it was August fight.
The way it was done, and it was such a ridiculous fight to begin with. And you know, there are some spoilers here with being on the moon. And, you know, a sword through the planet Earth. I mean, this is, like, ridiculous stuff that you would only really see in that typical Dragon Ball Z feel, but now is more incorporated in the games.
It's not too big a spoiler. It was in the demo, so.
That's true. My thing with games is they don't do it enough, is I love gigantic boss fight gameplay, like obscene boss gameplay, you know, even in the Wizen fight when, you know, grows bigger than the planet. It's just incredibly awesome and how epic it feels, and a lot of games can't really hit that. They kind of concentrate on just small multitudes of enemies, and of course that's in Asura's, but this feel of it is totally awesome.
Yeah, not many games have done the big boss premise since Shadow of the Colossus. This is one of the first games I can remember in a while it's actually done something with just, you know, ridiculously sized bosses.
Oh yeah, I mean, of course God of War also falls in the category too.
Yeah.
But Shadow of Colossus was different just because it had, you know, just I believe 16 bosses. That's all you fought with skill, puzzle gameplay, and whatnot. The other thing I wanted to mention about the game is just the storyline. You know, it's kind of your typical old. Classical save the girl, save the daughter, save the princess feel, but it really was kind of different because it was that weird, you know, obviously that weird Japanese randomized crazy story out of there, and if you play into the DLC with the true boss, it gets to the point where you just are like, all right, this is getting ridiculous.
Plus, I just like to one of the few games I've ever seen that has the Hinduism, Buddhism. It's like Hinduism, Buddhism, and sci-fi all mixed to one. You really don't see anything with Hinduism, really, and that was kind of cool to see a game that used that as the forefront of its like mythology and stuff.
Yeah, that was definitely a first that I hadn't noticed before and thought, wow, you know, is this what we can expect in games? And then Black Ops 2 came out, and the same thing I ever played every day for the past 5 years over and over again. But that's a different story. But what I was thinking is, you know, I actually like to replay the game, although it was very, like I said, it is actually repetitive, although I'm marking it an underrated game. I really wanted to get the S ranks and try to get the 100% completion, even though I'm pretty much against achievements most of the time. It was one of those games that I totally enjoyed and thought, wow, I want to replay it, master it, get better at it. Still haven't done it, but it's one of those games.
Yeah, I'm just getting tired of everybody complaining about QuickTime events so much because you look at a game like The Walking Dead, one that won a couple Game of the Year awards, which is a great game, by the way, but it is pretty much just a point-and-click adventure and one Game of the Year. So there's no real gameplay in there. I mean, you make choices, you make decisions, obviously, but there's no actual gameplay, quote-unquote. So for people to knock games like Asura's Wrath or like even the new Resident Evils that had a lot of QuickTime events because they have so many QuickTime events just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about that, what is gaming? I mean, why are people so upset with QuickTime events? It's one of the greatest inventions in gaming. I mean, the way it has a cinematic feel is so much different than anything you're used to. I mean, to me, just monotonously shooting enemies. I mean, you can remember the old Call of Duty games, if you were stuck in like a point in veteran, you would just continually shoot guys until they died, and you could eventually get through the scene. To me, that is idiotically boring. Why not just have a QuickTime event, get the button config right, and you're on to the next scene, and you have an evenly flowing adventure?
Well, and plus it makes the cinematics immersive, not just sitting there watching a movie, not like, Final Fantasy, where you'd beat the boss and you'd sit there and watch, a 30-minute CG cutscene. Like, I mean, that's cool, don't get me wrong, I love those, but that way you actually have to sit there. You can't just walk upstairs, make yourself a sandwich, whatever you feel like doing. You actually have to sit there because there's something you have to do gameplay-wise.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally shocked about a lot of people's hatred for QuickTime events, which I find totally weird. I mean, even if you're not playing a video game, even some random board game, are you literally sitting there the entire time while playing Monopoly doing something? No, you're sitting there waiting for 6 other people to go, just so in the end run you can flip the game board over and say, F this game.
I'm never sitting there playing Monopoly because Monopoly is the worst game ever, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, let's just not go there. So what I'm curious about is, your thought on just the overall game. So you hit a few aspects, and we mentioned some stuff in the beginning. I mean, is this the kind of game where you continually collect it, keep it on your shelf? Should people buy it, rent it?
Yeah, I still have my copy. I'm usually pretty quick to trade in games after I beat them. The only games I still have right now are Mass Effect 1, 2, 3, because they're like my favorite games, obviously. Dead Space 1 and 2, and then Asura. That's the only Xbox games I still have that I still kept after I beat them, or if they didn't involve multiplayer, obviously. So I would definitely say it's worthwhile. If you're worried, I mean, I don't like doing the whole number rating system, but I would definitely say it's worth a buy, at least. If you're worried about it, you don't think you're going to like it, pick it up as a rent at least. Give it a try. It's a good game.
Yeah,
you can always go and play the demo, too. Demo's free on Xbox, or it was at least. I don't know if it still is, but
the demo contains some of the best points, although it doesn't allow you to go all the way through it, as where the purchase would be best, or the rental. I don't even know. I guess you can still rent games on GameFly. I don't know.
GameFly, yeah.
But not too many blockbusters left anymore. Just saying.
No.
But no, I still have the game along with Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, Dante's Inferno, maybe a few others, and probably Family Game Night for some ridiculous reason. But totally love the game. This is one of my top games, underrated game for January 2013. And for that, I think we're just going to wrap it up there, keep it simple. We're just letting you guys know we're trying to do a handful of video series and different ideas. If you have any feedback, comment, etc., tell us what you want us to do, and we'll try to pertain to that and how we want to go about it. Any thoughts, Chris?
Yeah, just tell us what you want to see. That's what we'll do. We're here to do what you guys want. If you want, if you like the first thing we did, if you like this more, whatever. Just give us an idea. We'll do whatever you guys want us to do.
And that's it. So we'll see you guys later.
Have a good one.